Welcome to Season 1 of the Nomadic Freelancer podcast. This is a show for high-performing digital nomads. Together, we can learn how to identify what is essential, get the right things done, and enjoy the process. The question I have for you in this episode today is, should you be a specialist or a generalist? There's a big difference between the two, and we're going to get into that. The information I'm going to be sharing with you is going to save you time. It's going to allow you to make more money. And I'm going to be reading some excerpts from a new book that I came across. It's made a big impact in my life. I think it's going to bring a lot of value to you as well. The topic is about niching down in our creative services. The first time that I learned about niching down was for podcasting. This is my third podcast, and in my first one, it was okay, targeted, focused on a small group of people, pretty much, but not enough. So that podcast was a big learning lesson for me. The second podcast I had, I completely forgot about the whole niching down subject, and I was just trying to speak to everyone, and ended up reaching very few people. So you've probably heard the subject niching down, but you know what's been a profound realization for me recently is that it applies to business. This may be common sense to you, but sometimes I'm a slow learner. So I recently came across this concept of narrowing our focus of expertise in the creative services that we offer. So we figure out who our ideal client is, and we focus on positioning ourselves to reach them. So this is powerful advice. I'm going to be reading from a book. It's called Win Without Pitching by Blair Enns. I'm going to be linking to his work and videos in the show notes on my website at davidwhipple.com. I do encourage you to check it out. I think you're going to really like what I'm reading for you here today. But before I get into the excerpts, I do want to remind you that this is a video podcast. You can watch it on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube, or continue listening as audio on your favorite podcasting app like Apple. My wife Tracy here, you can see in the background, she's making jewelry. We're at a hotel in Sedona, Arizona. We came here for a gig. You can see on my shirt here, if you're watching the video, the Sedona Yoga Festival. Tracy was vending her jewelry. She did really well there. She made over a couple $1,000s. She also has been selling to other local businesses around here. So as a creative freelancer, are you a creative freelancer?
You tell me.
In your own business endeavors, she's starting to build that up, and she's doing well. She's also a yoga instructor too. So yeah, we're having a good time. Sedona's always beautiful. We used to live here. We're in a hotel room right now, and really enjoying it. So Tracy, if there's anything you want to say, you feel free to chime in at any time.
Thank you.
But just realize that you're not close to the Bluetooth lapel mic that I'm wearing.
So I should yell?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm used to that.
Yeah, she's always yelling at me. No kidding. Okay, let's get into this. So, but first let me sort of set up the context of this book, Win Without Pitching. What does that mean? Winning at the game of getting clients and serving them well. Winning at that without pitching. That means without having to convince them that they should hire you, without having them ask you for a proposal so they can look that over and consider hiring you. That is an old paradigm sort of thing. He goes deep into that in the book. That's big news to me, but I'm not going to get into that in this episode, but that's just sort of what the title means. The excerpts I'm reading are from the first proclamation. There are 12 proclamations in the book, sort of positive affirmations that we as digital nomads need to start learning and telling ourselves to reframe the way we go about business. This is the first one. Blair Enns, the author, says it's the most important one, and it starts with this, and that is, we will specialize. So I'll just start reading the excerpts that I pulled. There's much more in the book, links in description to the show notes on my website. He starts off by saying, we will acknowledge that it is the availability of substitutes that allows the client to ask and compels us to give our thinking away for free. If we are not seen as more expert than our competition, then we will be viewed as one in a sea of many, and we will have little power in our relationships with our clients. Going on, he says, what the world needs, what the better clients are willing to pay for, and what our people want to develop and deliver is deep expertise. Expertise is the only valid basis for differentiating ourselves from the competition. There's a lot of us out there who offer creative services to thousands, millions of clients. It's a whole sea of us, and we need to learn how to differentiate. Specializing gets us there. It is first through positioning our service that we begin to shift the power in the buy-sell relationship and change the way our services are bought and sold. Positioning is the foundation of business success. I never thought about that before. Positioning. Like on my website, which I redesigned after reading this, positioning ourselves, we can claim what we do, what we specialize in on our website, gear our SEO around that, and start to position ourselves in front of our dream clients. Without this specialization move that we're talking about here, we're going to be generalists, and we're not going to be able to position ourselves in front of our ideal clients. We'll continue to be sending off resumes, filling out applications, and having to pitch to potential clients. Positioning is strategy articulated and then proven. These components of strategy, language, and proof are laid out here as the 3 steps we must take to build deep expertise and meaningfully differentiate ourselves from others. So that's number 1, we must choose a focus. For me, of all the things I can deliver, I'm choosing videography to be the one thing I'm going to focus on to position myself. I wonder what it is for you. Number 2, then articulate that focus via consistent claim of expertise. So on my website, I'm starting to rewrite all of my languaging around what I offer as videography, so I can articulate that to a potential client who might be looking at my website, for example. Number 3, we must work to add the missing skills, capabilities, and processes necessary to support our new claim. One example of that would be like building a portfolio. So on my YouTube channel, I have a playlist of all the short videos I've made for clients to show potential clients coming to me that I can prove the articulation of my expertise. Basically just building a portfolio of your work to prove your claim. Moving on, he says, we stand in a room full of doors. As highly curious people, we want to see what is behind every door. On some level, however, we know that if we are to drastically reduce our competition and benefit from the resulting power shift, where we are controlling the client negotiations as experts, we must pick one door, walk through it, and never look back. Our personal desire for variety is suddenly placed at odds with the fundamental need of our business to focus. Can you relate with that? I know I can. For all these years that I've been working towards being a successful digital nomad, by the grace of God, I've gotten here as a generalist. I used to call myself a full stack creator. Yes, I can do many things. But now is the time to focus for my business needs so I can build up my bank account, so I can provide for the wife and the future and the unknown. Start to build that up. Focus, discipline. So moving on, I've only got 2 more excerpts here. The path to financial strength begins with facing the difficult business decision. That's to choose to specialize. Until we make a brave decision, success will elude us, and we will look at the market and complain about the economy or the clients, all the while knowing that it was us. That's some extreme ownership right there. I love it. It's a good challenge for me, and I'm starting to make progress on that. Final excerpt. A lucrative future where our enterprise sustains us and nourishes our creativity is within our control. We must simply choose to take control, first by specializing and then shifting the power back from the client towards us. And then we can begin to shape our future. It all starts with the difficult business decision. That's what I'm sharing with you in this episode. I'm wondering where you're at with this too. If you've already chosen to focus and specialize, or if you're still a generalist, if this is news to you. You can find more about Blair Enns, his book Win Without Pitching, and his YouTube videos and his podcast in the show notes on my website at davidwhipple.com. Links are in the description. So this is what I'm working on. I'm stoked to learn more, and as I learn, I'm going to continue to share it with you, because that's the whole reason why this podcast exists, is so I can share my process and hopefully add value to your life and your work. Thanks for listening to this episode. I'm grateful for your attention. If you're getting value from this show, subscribe on Apple Podcasts and leave a review, or follow on Spotify and give it a rating there. You can also stream it right on my website at davidwhipple.com. And hey, let's make this interactive. If you have a question, send me an audio message and I'll share it in an episode to give it an answer. The link for that and everything else is in the description. So until next time, work smarter, travel lighter, and enjoy the process.